One of my very favorite day-use parks to visit is the one at Oceanside. When I was a park ranger, this was just a graveled parking lot here. And then we got some archaeologists involved and we done some digs here and then put in a restroom and paved the parking lot. In the digs, we found this entire parking lot pretty much was an ancient village. It's pretty much okay to pave over a village site, but not to dig in it, because when you pave over it, the information of these ancients is still there, and you can go back and go ahead and take up the pavement and dig under it. But if you were to dig there, you would disturb it. Down on the beach, we see a bunch of shells that may have, some of them, been part of the old ancient village site. The sea is constantly eroding some of these old village sites away, and some of those powdered up shells may have very well been what ancient man dined on. And we're going to go see where ancient man got some of the stuff they dined on over next to this point. There is a tunnel completely through the point, and that was built by some people to promote tourism. The tourists would come down and they wouldn't be able to get around the point, so these enterprising young men dug a tunnel completely through way back when, and it's still in use. There's a rock here with the holes in it. That was by the holes are from the rock boring clam, the Pittock, the Pillsbury, and the Peapod boar. Then I walk around, it's pretty much low tide, walk around next to the point where there's all sorts of sea life that the ancients could have dined on. There's the gooseneck barnacles, and there's a cave here, and I'll go in this cave. These gooseneck barnacles are really good eating too. You just cook them and eat the neck, and it tastes like a lobster, but I'm not sure whether that's legal or not. And those little pit holes you see in the rock itself are from the rock boring clam as they go about their business of being rock borers. This is a pretty nice sea cave, so I'm going to go in there. I think maybe I wouldn't recommend that for others to go in there, but I need to go in and get some pictures. And the gooseneck barnacles are all over the place. All you do to eat these, and I'm not sure whether it's legal to take them here or not. If you were going to do that, you'd have to check, but I sure wouldn't take many of them because they are real pretty hanging here in the cave for others to see. And you just boil them, and then you skin the neck and put butter on the neck part and eat it, and then the rest of it is all discarded. I get back in the cave and I can see light at the end of it, and it goes in here maybe about 15 or 20 feet, and it's just been washed by the sea in a crack in the rocks. And there are all sorts of sea animals hanging on here, where they hang here and filter the water. It's real pretty looking out to sea from in this cave, and it's a little bit of a tight squeeze here. Just mostly, there's plenty of room down below, but there's not much room up where your head goes. So I'm going to crawl on out of here, or walk on out of here. It's tall enough you can walk, and take a look outside the cave. The cliffs here are what they call pillow lava. And that means when the lava flow was building in here, it formed the pillow-shaped places, which it happens when basalt lava rock cools in water. And then I looked at the sea life all over the pillow lava, and there's all kinds of 2 different kinds of barnacles and just a jillion little small mussels. There's more gooseneck barnacles right on the point. This point is a very interesting rock formation, and you have the 3 arch rocks standing tall, looking after you as you walk around here. But the tide's coming in enough, I'm not going to get wet and try to go around there. Besides, it might be somewhat dangerous in the incoming tide. But I do want to see what's on the other side. At first, the state parks were going to close this tunnel, and then they, the community wanted it so bad that they didn't do that, but rocks were falling on the front part of it, so they had to build this entrance to it to keep rocks from falling down and hitting tourists. So the first part of it is it's all, the tunnel is all man-made, but the first part of it is concrete, and there's even some graffiti on it. I'm not sure what the graffiti artist had in mind. I couldn't make much sense of it. And then we go through the tunnel. High tide has thrown a few logs in the tunnel, and then you just walk around the edge of the logs and on through the tunnel with some rock fall on the floor, so you need to be quite careful. But there's encouragement. As I go through, I can see the light at the other end of the tunnel. Some people use flashlights for going through there, but I've never had a flashlight with me. And if I had one, I'm not sure I'd use it because the light isn't terrible bad in there. You have to be really careful you don't bump your head or trip and fall on some of the boulders in there. But it seems to be no real problem. There's a few logs here that you have to walk around, and then you just dodge a few boulders and keep going, and pretty soon you can look out the other side and have an awesome sight. When you reach the end of the tunnel, it's almost like entering another world there. It's a beauty beyond comparison out beyond it. As I get farther out, I can see water-worn rocks, but they may have been casting by real high tides from this area. And here's what the other end of the tunnel looks like. I pause and look back at all these water-worn, rounded, cornered rocks, and then I look ahead, and what a sight. There's sea stacks all over the place out here. And there's some of these that are real low tide, you can even walk around. The ramp-shaped rock out here that I was just looking at has a colony of stellar sea lions live there. There are many sea stacks here, some big and some small. I think that bigger one that's sort of laying a little bit vertical is called the Old Man of the Sea. At certain times when you get to a certain angle, you can sort of see through it like an eyeball. And then I walk on up by the sea stacks. At low tide is an excellent time to go to this spot because you can walk along on the beach without having to walk around on those rocks, and you can see these sea stacks better. Just be really careful not to get caught out on one as the tide's coming in. But now I've looked at this small, very unique small beach, and it's time to go back and go out through the tunnel. I see some other people coming toward me, and I go out and back into the parking lot again, and then I'm heading home, and I'll stop briefly at a few places and get a picture of the sunset. This is from the parking lot at Oceanside, and then Oceanside, that last light in the day. By the time I get ready to go, the keeper of the stars is just putting the sun away from the night, and what a beautiful way of doing it. We can see the ocean there and Cape Lookout sticking out to sea as that final light in the day. What a neat sight to see the sun going down. So I'm going to stop by Cape Lookout Park where I once worked and watch the sun go down from the picnic shelter.